There's been a undercurrent underneath of the appetite and the ability for foundations to take risk. I mean, foundations often talk about risk and risk-taking in all their programs, even foundations that are not working on peace and social justice. But the subset of foundations that work on peace and social justice issues are even more, can we say, they have an appetite and an understanding that they do have to take some risks. And many of the things that happen today is sort of staying with a project for a long period of time, making sure that you are bringing in the stakeholders, engaging them, involved with them, working with them, and that the solutions have to come essentially from the people themselves. All you really need to do is be there, and it's a midwifery role rather than a director's role.
There were all sorts of institutions and agencies with very humane objectives and without immediate political interests themselves played a big role in South Africa. Not only the anti-apartheid movement, but all sorts of agencies working in the country in spheres of education, health, anti-racism, supporting universities and so on. And certainly in Northern Ireland, possibly philanthropic organizations played a bigger role than in almost any other social process I know. Maybe because it's a very intimate society, maybe because the particular philanthropic organizations involved here were not doling out goodies to poor, needful people. They were very community-oriented, very close to the communities, to the people, understood the psychology, were able themselves in their mentality and thinking to bridge the divides.
Foundations together, collaboratively, are able to do more than individual ones. I mean, one of the litanies that I heard during the week was the sense that, whatever resources foundations are able to bring to the table are always going to be peanuts compared to that governments can do. So the question is, how do you use those resources, and how do you use them and deploy them in meaningful sort of ways? And we've had a thread through the conference of how things got dealt with in Northern Ireland, and then there's been some sort of lessons learned about how perhaps some of this can be applied in other places. And one example was Basque Country, and some of the same funders that funded reconciliation here have also done some very interesting work in Northern Ireland.
External philanthropic organizations are not going to build the schools and provide the teachers and the blackboards and the Bunsen burners and the computers and everything. I think there were interventions in terms of community involvement in education, pedagogic style, how you imagine teaching to be. And so we had a body called SACED, South African Council for Higher Education, that did marvelous work in the struggle days, and they got a lot of international backing. In terms of health, again, it was reconceiving, reimagining health facilities, and not only health facilities, not only health treatment, but healthy living in different ways. And so the external bodies can enter in certain nodal areas, key areas, and exchange. And sometimes it would be South Africans going abroad, studying, working with organizations. Sometimes it would be people from abroad coming into the country. And always community, community, community. That was the key thing, working with people on the ground in terms of their hopes, their aspirations, their dreams, their possibilities, more than finding carefully calculated forms of technical instrumental investment that's going to get results. The biggest results are the responding to the needs for peace, for community, for getting on, for understanding, for accepting diversity. These are much more critical than things.
At a very deep level, I think, with the fact that we're looking at a problem that's imploding on us, Greece, Spain, and the euro and the crisis, and a sense that really you need to look at economic, social issues very deeply and be there for a long period of time, stay with these problems, not just you know, one of the things I picked up at one of the meetings was a argument about whether you can declare victory sort of and leave. You can't. You have to stay with things over a long period of time, and you have to give things a certain amount of time for them to be reconciled.